Welcome to this tutorial on the decision tree. In Virginia, assessment teams are required to use the decision tree at entry, annual IFSP, and exit to determine the child outcome summary statement that represents a child's functioning in each of the child outcome areas. This tutorial will cover several details to support you in using the decision tree, including fully engaging families as team members in this discussion and decision-making process. One side of the decision tree was created to support your explanation to families about the child outcome summary process. This page can be printed as a handout for families to keep. The top paragraph of the page explains to families that child outcomes are the way the state measures the effectiveness of early intervention services over time. These statements describe functional behaviors compared to same-age peers across a variety of routines and settings. After explaining the reason why we use the child outcome summary process in Virginia, proceed down the page to discuss the 3 child outcomes. This middle section of the page explains the 3 different child outcomes. Before reporting information about each child outcome area at initials and annuals, you can use this page to show or remind families what the 3 outcome areas measure. For example, your explanation could be something like this. The first outcome we will discuss about Johnny looks at how children have positive social relationships. This includes how Johnny interacts and plays with his family, other adults, and other children. We'll talk about how Johnny communicates and responds to new people and places. At the end of each outcome area, we will use the decision tree on the back to decide which statement best describes Johnny in this area compared to his same-age peers. Before we move on, let me just say a word about exit ratings. Although there may not be a formal team discussion of outcome ratings at exit the way there is at initial and annuals, you can still use this side of the decision tree to remind families about the outcomes and to get their input on their child's functioning and progress through ongoing assessment. This way you have that family input and information even if there's not a formal team meeting at exit. The last paragraph on this page supports your discussion with families about the valuable role they play in assessment throughout their time in early intervention services. Let's talk about some key tips. Pause as you go. Take your time explaining this to families. Give them opportunities to ask questions or provide any feedback. It's important for us to take the time to explain why we're using the child outcome summary process and what each outcome measures. Preparing families ahead of the assessment and decision tree discussion is the first step in engaging them in that process. The decision tree itself is a visual representation for families and other team members as they discuss the extent to which the child is using age-expected functional skills across all settings and situations. The tree is designed to walk teams through a consistent discussion and decision-making process. After summarizing the information you have about Johnny in a particular area, like children having positive social relationships, you would ask the first question while showing this handout to the family. Does the child ever function in ways that would be considered age expected with regard to this outcome? Pause a minute and brainstorm with the family to think about some examples. You can refer back to the 3 different bullets on the reverse side of the decision tree about how Johnny interacts and plays with his family, other adults, and other children to help you think about examples. Also think about how Johnny communicates his feelings and responds to new people and places. After considering those examples, ask the question again if needed. Does Johnny ever function in ways that would be considered age expected with regard to this outcome? If the answer is yes, consider outcome statements 4 through 7. If the answer is no, you'll consider statements 1 through 3. Please notice that the decision tree uses family-friendly language about child outcome statements 1 through 7 and does not refer to number ratings 1 through 7. Once you decide between that yes or no, ask the next question. Again, you'll want to pause and think of some examples with the family, and then you'll follow the correct answer down the decision tree. The final question looks at the extent to which the child uses age-expected functional skills across all settings or situations. Again, pause and reflect with the family on examples. For instance, Johnny might be using words to claim ownership at home and singing songs in the car with his family members, but child care teachers report that he's very quiet at school and tends to stay away from peers. Once you have that kind of discussion about examples with the family, decide together which answer best fits the scenario, and then follow that answer down the decision tree to the statement that best describes the child's functioning compared to same-age peers. Congratulations. At this point, you've engaged the family and determined as a team the child outcome statement that best describes the child. This is the statement you'll put in the team assessment section of the IFSP for the child's development in relation to other children the same age. The decision tree in action helps generate discussion while providing explanations if needed. It provides an opportunity for the family to share what they know about their child in each of the outcome areas, and a chance for you to help the family understand, if needed, what is age expected. Family engagement and consistent team decision-making in the assessment and child outcome rating process are a priority. This process supports accurate outcome ratings. It's also a key component of effective service planning and progress monitoring, which in turn support positive outcomes for children and families. If you have questions about using the decision tree, please contact your technical assistance consultant. We're here to help.